Hi guys, as the title says, this video will be about some K-pop opinions of mine that will kinda get me in trouble with some of you. Some of these opinions are new, while others I have briefly mentioned in some of my past videos and I'm just gonna explain them in more depth. But anyway, don't forget to let me know your thoughts. Let's begin. I never really got the appeal about center Sakura and IZ*ONE. Don't get me wrong, I think Sakura is a pretty solid performer now and I enjoy seeing her on stage. But back in IZ*ONE I felt like she wasn't the center material some of you made her out to be. Yes, she was good, but some of you acted as if she was so much better than Wonyoung in every department, being more deserving than her for the center spot. I honestly never understood why people felt the need to start fan wars over something that wasn't gonna change anyway. Hell, some of you are still pressed about this till this day when you should have just moved on and accepted the fact Wonyoung got the center spot. That doesn't mean Sakura is untalented. But I also never really understood why certain stans made it seem like she was so incredibly better suited for the center spot than Wonyoung when Wonyoung was literally called the perfect center by the mentors on Produce 48. Like I said, I think Sakura is good, but I don't think she would have made a better center than Wonyoung. It's not that unfair if a company's moneymakers get a bigger budget and more frequent comebacks. Ideally it would be amazing if everybody was treated equally, but it's not very realistic. Companies have to make money after all. So if they know a group is gonna bring in tons of money while another group is not gonna do that, then it's pretty easy to understand why some groups get a more preferential treatment. Some examples we've seen throughout the years are Cube Entertainment with Idol, UA Entertainment with Yuna, Fantagio Entertainment with Astro, and just recently Wake One with Zero Base One. These companies are just choosing to invest more in those artists that have a bigger fandom and that even the general public seems more interested in. And as much as it is sad, it makes a lot of sense and it's not as unfair as some stans make it out to be. It would be much more unfair if the money makers were given less despite being the ones who bring in more money and more attention to the company. I find new groups a bit unappealing. When I say unappealing, I don't mean that they are untalented or have bad songs. Not at all. In fact, some of the most talented groups are underrated and some of the best songs can also come from new artists. But I find them unappealing for the simple reason that sometimes it's clear the company is putting zero effort into them, and this is evident by the low quality of their music videos or the lack of content they put out. I totally get it. The company doesn't have much money and they're doing what they can, but it can be so hard getting into a group that has barely any content out to get to know the members. And the worst thing that makes some new groups unappealing to me is that it feels like they will just disband anytime. Like I'm gonna wake up one day and they'll be gone. I've been through that already in the past and it wasn't a fun experience. That's why now I'm always a bit wary when it comes to getting into very underrated groups. It sucks seeing the low effort from the company and how some things just look so cheap. I genuinely believe that companies who cannot provide for groups should stop debuting them. I just don't get it. If you are broke, why do you even debut a group just to give them the bare minimum? I get it that everyone hopes to start from the bottom and end up with a group like BTS, but this is unrealistic. If you debut a group and give them no budget and no content, just don't debut them. Don't make trainees waste their time at your company. It honestly just feels like you're scamming them. I'm tired of ARMYs acting as if BTS were the only ones who really struggled. Whenever somebody mentions a group or an idol who had to go through hardships to get popular, you best believe ARMYs will insert themselves in the conversation and try to prove how that idol didn't actually have it hard, how they had everything handed to them and BTS were the ones who really struggled. Which makes no sense because multiple things can be true at the same time. Yes, BTS didn't have it easy and they struggled to get to where they are, but other groups struggled too, maybe even more than them. And even if they struggled less than them, that doesn't change the fact they didn't have it easy. It's funny how some ARMYs act as if there couldn't possibly be any other group who had to go through hardships outside of BTS. Like, why do you even care about other groups that much to insert yourselves in the conversation? As long as nobody is shading or attacking BTS, I don't see why you would care. There has always been a trend to make your faves look as mistreated as possible to gain sympathy and prove that they are the real underdogs. People keep on glorifying the rugs to riches story, and this is getting tiring. We get it. Your faves had to work hard. But fun fact, they weren't the only ones in K-pop to work hard, so please just stop. I'm tired of some shouting stans always victimizing her. I'm no longer into Kepler, so tell me if I'm mistaken. But I always see shouting stans treating her as if she was a poor victim who never gets any exposure and is always done dirty by the company. This is mainly because she doesn't get a huge amount of lines in their songs, and I just have to remind you that she isn't necessarily one of the best singers in the group, so I don't get why her not getting many lines even comes as a surprise to some of you. Kepler has 9 members and distributing lines to 9 people isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do. It's only fair that the members of the vocal line will get a bit more. Shouting is part of the dance line, and in fact she always stands out during dance breaks and the more intricate parts of the choreography. She's also basically treated as the center even if she ranked last, which makes sense since she really had a good center quality. But instead of being glad she's being recognized for this quality, some of her stans always have to complain. Usually if a member gets pushed in a certain department then they don't get pushed a lot in others. Shouting is being pushed in terms of performance because that's what she's good at doing, and she's not gonna be pushed as a vocalist since that's not her strongest quality. Just like Cheon is gonna be pushed for her vocals but not so much for her dancing. It's just common sense. There are members who barely get pushed at all, like Bahi or Mashiro. In comparison, Shouting is one of the members who gets the most spotlight in each comeback, so I don't get why some people always complain. I overall feel like some Shouting stans are never satisfied and always see everything negatively. Cube had every right to kick Yuna and D-Dawn out. I don't think I even need to mention that I think all idols should be free to date. That's pretty much obvious, and no idol should be forced to keep their relationship a secret. However, we can't even blame Cube for what they did because they didn't kick Yuna and D-Dawn out just cause they were dating. They kicked them out for going against a company's statement. Cube denied their relationship and they immediately contradicted the company by announcing they were dating. Not to mention they literally signed a contract that stated they couldn't publicly reveal their relationship. So they totally knew what they were getting into. I've been always cheering for them and I was happy they spoke up about their relationship because it was an important message against dating bans. But still, Cube technically had every right to kick them out for disobeying the rules. Well guys, this was all I had to say. I know I might get cancelled for some of these opinions, but I really needed to get them off my chest. Tell me if you agreed or disagreed down in the comments. With that being said, thank you for watching. Bye.